Right now, I'm approaching one of the passes in the outer reef that leads to Ta'a. Ta'a and Raiatea are two islands that share the same fringing reef, about 100 or so miles west of Tahiti. The bay that we're aiming for is Hanamane Bay, and it is this really cool one that extends almost into the center of Ta'a. It has been pretty rainy on this trip, but we're at the beginning of rainy season, so that's to be expected. I guess the only thing to do in rain is to get out into it. Welcome to Hippie Sailing. I am single-handing migrant 27 around the world. I started my trip in Maine with a very cold 10-month overhaul of my entire boat. Solo sailed through the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, 41 days alone across the Pacific, and now I am sailing in French Polynesia, trying to learn French, living the castaway lifestyle of my dreams, and doing a bunch of awesome sailing. On board the Geck, I have no fridge, water maker, fancy electronics, and my dinghy is a rowboat with a sail rig. If you're interested in seeing what I'm doing in my daily life, check out my Instagram @BoatLizard. I just came back to my boat from a walk and changed out the water jerrys. Look how fast these things are filling. You can see the bubbles coming up. Super exciting. Fresh water. I already put one jerry in my tank, and so I'm racked it up to my parents' boat. And everyone in the anchorage said that the ferry came by when our boats were turned at an unfortunate angle and they heard this really loud noise. Guess what I just found on my deck? Yeah, this is at the top of my mast, or it was, obviously. And it is now down here, super bent. So somehow the wake was so bad that the top of my mast hit my parents' rig. And it just broke this off. So my dad is going to help me jury rig this back on, because I would say this is my number one, besides my depth sounder, but when I'm sailing, this is my most important instrument. I don't have anything, like any electronic things for telling me where the wind is going, so this guy is muy importante, and will be missed. Hopefully we can fix it soon. We got completely soaked on the walk. Everyone else was inside getting dry. My dad was like, "Holly, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm watching the water fill. It's so exciting." So yeah, that's what my life is these days. My dad is going up the mast to take the base off the Windex. Yoo-hoo!
Here we go.
And he's gonna try to make a new one. So I'm on winch duty. Dad's at the top of the mast getting the base off. I just sent him a pair of vice grips on the main halyard. These are exciting times.
So now we have this. And we need to make it go back together again. Somehow. Always comes down to somehow.
I have JB Weld too for plastic.
Oh, for plastic?
Yeah.
Oh. And we need to like build it up.
Alright.
So it's just going to break off like that. JB Weld is the only hope.
Could we drill through here and then make a lashing from here around the bottom of there to kind of lash it together too, in addition to the JB Weld?
Yeah, that could. Yeah, because this screws into the top and this is a lock nut. So this goes in and this locks it so that we could leave that space open for place to go. So here we have a lovely product, JB Weld plastic. It's a really awesome thing to have in your toolkit for repairs on your boat, because it's hard to get plastic to connect to itself again. This is a putty, so you just cut a slice off the little sausage and mix it together. It's a two-part. La la. We have the master at work cutting the little slice of JB Weld two-part, so you need to putty it together like Play-Doh. Play-Doh. Adult Play-Doh. I'm gonna make a clown with a red nose. We'll put all this on, we'll let it kick, and then we'll seize it. Oh, and then we'll put stuff over the seizing.
How did the rest of it, the mast look up there?
Nothing touched.
I think it just snagged.
I mean, this thing, top of the radar, the top of the anchor light is right there.
Right.
I don't know how, only...
So it just dipped over something.
We'll have to paint it black.
That's a good name for a
Yes,
song.
all the other sailors will make fun of me.
Oh, I know. You're the boat with that gray bit on your
So we want
Windex.
this to stay out in the sunlight.
Here we have our custom Windex mount. And here's the repair. Very beautiful. Alright, my dad has moused on the connection. This is set.
A little bit sad. It's
Mostly.
still a little bit soft. It's good. And we'll cover it with epoxy for the crib network.
Yes. Also, I just discovered this banana flavored drink. It's really delicious.
Flavor of Tootsie Roll. It's the blue.
It's called Poison.
It's blueberry Tootsie Roll. You have to cut it out yourself.
Hidden surprise in the center. What's the word?
The word is it's going to be perfect.
Yeehaw. Stronger than ever. Little
Stronger than it was before.
snowman on the bottom,
What if it
especially
was
the
broken from when you ran into the tree in the Dismal Swamp Canal?
That was
It might
2
have been
years
broken
ago.
for a
Oh, it was cracked. And then it
It's
got
been
sun.
cracked.
You know what?
Yeah.
And then it was sunbaked.
So I ran into a tree 2 years ago with my mast.
That makes
I think it might have
sense.
broken it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It cracked it.
It did bend one of the little thingies. Yes, it was a tree hanging over the river, and it was very narrow, and I didn't have an autopilot at that point, so I ran below to make a cup of tea. 30 seconds later, bang! Smash! Branches on the deck. This thingy bent. Yeah, entirely possible.
It just fell off.
Actually, you needed a branch to stir your stew pot.
Yeah.
So you decided to use your Windex as a chainsaw.
Alright, here's the fix.
Let it dry for a day.
JB welded over the skeleton on the inside, which is over the JB weld, and yeah, it's really well balanced with all the weight on the bottom. She's a beaut. And then this goes into the mast with this threads, and then this is the lock nut to lock it on, in case you were wondering. My last step in this is to paint. I already did it green with my finger last night when I got home, so it's not very good. Paint over the JB weld as UV protection. So this was my primer coat. I'm not crazy about the green, so what I'm gonna do is gold. Ooh. This looks really ugly. It's like a dragon, maybe. Kind of, you can see the green through the gold still. The gold's kind of chunky because it's really old. There we go. One beautiful lump. Let it dry. And I wasn't able to wrap it up to my parents this morning because the anchorage was a little rough. So I'm gonna launch my dinghy and row over to them. Super rainy day today. My parents want to go for a hike to a waterfall, and feels like it's gonna be a really muddy hike, but we do just need to get off the boat. Otherwise we're gonna go stir crazy, so we're gonna try for it. And if not, there's a pearl farm that apparently does tours, so that sounds fun and touristy, and we might do that too. So I'm gonna bring this ye old GoPro with me, and we'll see what happens on this adventure. Scary rainy outdoor world. Also, I'm editing a video. It's one of the old ones you guys have already seen. This is future Holly. It's a muddy little anchorage. Ready for our rain walk?
Ready.
So a cool fact about a lot of the motorboats in French Polynesia is that they put the steering in the front, and this is so that they can see coral heads from where they're steering and avoid them because there's so many everywhere.
Wild walkers. Bienvenue.
So we're gonna go to this pearl place, see if we can get a tour before we get too soaking wet with the rain. Oh yeah, probably.
I need to get
Oh, they're in my bag.
Yes.
A lot of techniques to make pearls, huh? 5 years to make if you are good or not. Ok? Pour faire la perle, donc on va utiliser un nucléus.
What the pearl farmer is explaining is the process of how to implant the oysters with pearls. So what he's showing now is actually the mantle of a sacrificed oyster, and they put a piece of that mantle along with a plastic bead, which they're calling the nucleus, into one of the shells, and it's the combination of these two things that creates the pearl.
On va choisir quand même une nacre qui a une belle couleur, vous voyez?
It's the combination of the piece of mantle from the sacrificed oyster and the nucleus that creates the pearl in the pearl-growing oyster. Right now he's showing us the different colors on the shell, and by looking at what colors are on the shell, you can determine what colors are going to be on the pearl. So they only sacrifice oysters that have beautiful colors on the inside of their shell. They take these mantles and cut them up and put them into the pearl-growing oysters. I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see it. And it's the combination of these two things that creates the beautiful colors of the pearls that you see in the shops. Throughout its life, each oyster is capable of growing up to 5 pearls. So first, after they've implanted the nucleus, once they've given it the right amount of time for the pearl to grow around it, they check it. If they like the pearl that they find in the oyster, they'll implant it with a second pearl.
Those oysters, we make the second pearls. We replace the pearls with a large nucleus. They are here. And after this, we close like this. Okay? Yes.
That's
Why? We protect the oyster because in the water we have 2 predators, turtle and stingray. They eat. Why we protect? Tu as compris?
C'est quoi les deux prédateurs?
For the grafter. He just open little bit and he pulls. What do you say there? Carve? On appelle ça des carves.
A wedge.
The wedge? Ah, wedge. He puts a wedge. Yes. Donc,
This is the oyster wedging station. New oysters are taken. This guy is just sticking wedges into them to open them up. And then he's going to take this whole basket of wedged oysters over to the next station where they drill holes in them to prepare them to be attached to the mat that they're going to be put back into the lagoon on. The mats protect them from predators like turtles and stingrays that want to eat the delicious, delicious oysters.
on a enlevé les... Voilà. We sacrifice the oyster today. Next, it's like this.
Uh huh.
This is. And you take out this. You have a technique to take out this. Do this. Sacrifice like this. Voilà. Voilà. Voyez? Comme ça.
Et manger ça.
Ça, c'est manger, hein? Good.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Voilà. And is this.
Wow.
On fait de la salade, carpaccio,
Oui.
tout ça, c'est vraiment. We make salad, carpaccio, very good, no?
Yeah.
Ouais. Donc, it's okay, good. What? You make the hole here, the 2 inches.
Toutes les...
Oui.
D'accord.
You have the hole here, hein? We drill here.
Il n'est pas fait par l'humain, quoi. Il était...
C'est fait par nous-mêmes.
Ah, c'est vous qui le faites. Ah, d'accord, ok.
Ah oui, c'est le dentiste alors.
This inner room is the place where the pearls are taken out of the oysters and new nucleuses are inserted if the pearls are deemed worthy of reseeding. There is a lady sitting here with what looks like dentist tools, taking each pearl out of the oysters and placing new nucleuses inside. If an oyster is deemed worthy of taking another nucleus, they place a slightly larger nucleus inside the oyster because it's already proven itself to be good at making little pearl babies. So you can see on the right there are 3 different sizes of nucleuses, and then I'm not sure what the system is, but there's some system with the pearls in the bowls of water based on quality, color, shape, etc.
Oh,
Because it has the little lumps.
yeah.
This video is not sped up. This lady is just insanely efficient at her job. Okay, after we did the pearl farm, it was pouring rain, so we went home, and once it had stopped a little bit, my mom and I went on a row up one of these rivers. This feels like when I was a little kid and you used to row us around. It's super muddy here from all the rain. Tomorrow we're renting a car and we're going to drive around Raiatea, which is where we are now, and see what we can see. I'm also going to get rid of my dirty diesel! This is where they told us the fuel dump area is. As I was opening the gate, I was informed that it was not something I was allowed to do myself, so I had assistance and was shy to film. Tomorrow we're leaving Raiatea to head back to Moorea, back east towards Tahiti, where my parents need to drop the boat. So we have a whole other week together, but then they're leaving. Sad face. Thank you for watching. Thank you patrons for supporting me and making this trip doable. If you'd like to become a patron, my Patreon is patreon.com/windhippie. And for one-time donations, my PayPal is paypal.me/windhippie. Thank you, Tish, for helping me get these videos onto YouTube with your superior internet connection. Ooh, I just made traditional poisson cru avec lait du coco. One of my friends just speared a fish and brought it to me, and this is a traditional Polynesian dish. How do I show it to you? It's confusing. You grate coconut and make milk out of it, and then squeeze that milk onto raw fish with some lime and garlic and onion. And this is the bag with the coconut bits in it, oops, and they're falling out, that I used to make the coconut milk. It's a lot of work, involves a lot of grating and squeezing and sweating. And that's what I'm having for dinner. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks with another full-length video. Patrons, I will see you guys next week with a snickety snack.